And we are back. Welcome to another brand new series on the channel. Or should I say the comeback of a former series on the channel, because this is my preview and predictions for the Women's Euros starting tomorrow. And today we're going to be covering all of the matches taking place tomorrow on match day 1. So before we get into it, as always, do not forget to drop a like on this video if you do enjoy all of my prediction series. Share it with a friend to get as many people involved in this Women's Euros as possible. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here with notifications turned on. Don't miss out on any of the videos we've got covering this tournament over the next 3 weeks. And if you want to be even more awesome, if you want to support the channel as we look ahead to a brand new season in just 1 month's time, you can do so by becoming a member and joining the channel with the join button at the bottom of your screen right now. Furthermore, we still have one more day of the Club World Cup last 16, and my preview and predictions videos for that is available at the top of your screen right now, so make sure you check that out so you don't miss out on what I think regarding those 2 matches taking place tonight. However, today we are going to be talking about 2 matches in the Women's Euros taking place in Switzerland as England look to defend the trophy that they won 4 years ago. And these are the matches that are taking place tomorrow. They are the 2 matches in Group A, and that is how they're doing it. They're going to do 1 group per day, so I'm going to do 1 group per day. Group A today, B tomorrow, C and then D, because it actually looks like you're waiting for a figured out the alphabet for a change. Anyway, before we get into it, something that should really be noted, and this does obviously apply straight away to this first fixture, but there's going to be some interesting ones where if you're doing your own research before these matches, there's going to be some form guides that are going to be incredibly misleading, because over the course of the last couple of months, these sides have all been playing in Women's Nations League matches. And if you remember from the Men's Nations League, the way it works is these teams are ranked based on basically their world rankings, their European qualifying coefficients. So there are going to be teams that are in League B that have been doing really well, coming up against sides that have been playing in League A that have not necessarily done well. So be very, very careful when it comes to these Women's Euros if you're doing your own sort of predictions or your own betting on these, because the form guides are going to be incredibly misleading, particularly for those sides that have been in League B. And that leads us perfectly on to this opening match, because we have Iceland taking on Finland. And coming into this match, Iceland have not won any of their last 6 competitive matches, whereas Finland have only lost 1 of their last 6. So you were looking at that thinking, well, Finland are surely going to be coming into this one as the favourites, but actually that is incorrect, because Iceland should 100% be considered the favourites for this match. The issue is that Iceland have been in League A in a very, very tough League A group in the Nations League, whereas Finland have been in a relatively easy League B group, certainly for a team of their status. So if you want any actual justification as to why Iceland should be considered the favourites, firstly, just look at the world rankings. Iceland are 14th, Finland are 26th. I know you shouldn't really read too much into world rankings, but they can be quite a good indicator. But not only that, in the Nations League, Finland drew and lost to Serbia, and in the final warm-up game before this tournament last week, Iceland easily beat Serbia. So you should be looking more into things like that rather than the actual head-to-head or sort of the actual overall form of these sides coming into this tournament. It should also be noted that Finland also lost their final warm-up game coming into this, with Iceland obviously winning it, as I just said. Finland lost 2-1 to the Netherlands, although to be fair, that isn't actually such a bad result for Finland coming into this. Should also be noted that in terms of the actual qualification process for this European Championships in Switzerland, Iceland qualified directly for the tournament by finishing 2nd in their qualifying group, whereas Finland had to get here through the playoffs because they finished bottom of their qualifying group, and somehow that still gives them a route through the playoffs. I don't really understand how you can have qualifying groups where it doesn't really matter where you finish, you still have another shot of getting there. But that's the way they do it for the Women's Euros, and Finland, to be fair to them, did get here through the playoff system. But that is why, in my opinion, you have to have Iceland as the strong favourites for this one coming into it. I do think it's going to be closer than what people may now think after I've said all of that, because like I say, Iceland haven't played well in League A, Finland have played well in League B. But Iceland definitely, in my opinion, should be considered the favourites. I can see both sides scoring in it, but I think Iceland should still be taking the win. I'm going to go for a slightly cautious 2-1 to Iceland, but it could end up being more. Regardless, I still think Iceland will be getting the win. The second game in this group sees host nation Switzerland taking on Norway. For some reason, they're not doing the host nation as the opening match, but it's not up to me. It's obviously how they've decided to do it. But what is really interesting about this match, but also this group as a whole, is I've just been mentioning how these sides have been playing Nations League matches over the last couple of months. Well, all of Switzerland, Norway, and Iceland were all in the same Nations League group last month. So all three of those sides have been playing against each other over the course of the last couple of months. And what I can tell you straight away as we talk about this match right here is that both home and away, Norway did beat Switzerland. So yes, Switzerland are going to have that home field advantage as the host nation for this competition, but Norway literally beat Switzerland 1-0 in Switzerland less than a month ago. So it's going to take a hell of a turnaround for the Swiss to actually get through this group as a whole, but certainly this opening match. Furthermore, what's even more bizarre is not only have Norway and Switzerland been playing against Iceland over the last couple of months, but in the qualification process, Norway were in the same group as Finland as well. So Norway literally have a head-to-head record against all three of these teams over the course of the last 12 months. So it's going to make things much easier to talk about in terms of how we think these matches are going to go. And what I can tell you is that Norway finished in third place in that group that Finland finished in bottom in, and both of those sides ended up progressing through the playoffs, but Norway did it in a little bit more style than what Finland did. In their 4 playoff matches, Norway scored 21 goals and conceded none. That is how good Norway can be on their day, and like I say, they come into this after being very dominant over Switzerland and Iceland in that Nations League group over the last couple of months. In my opinion, they have to be considered the real strong favourites for this opening group stage match. They've obviously got some star power in their squad as well, with the likes of Hedgeberg, Reeton and Graham Hansen. All are going to be available for this. They did, however, lose their final warm-up game. They lost 2-0 to Sweden. The Swiss did beat the Czechs 4-1 in their final warm-up game. But again, calibre of opposition should be considered. Sweden a far stronger side than what the Czechs are right now in women's football. Obviously, Switzerland are going to have the chance. They're going to have the home support behind them. But I just don't see them beating a side that has just beaten them twice in the space of the last 6 weeks. For me, Norway are going to take it. It was a 1-0 in the meeting in Switzerland last month. I think it's going to be one better this time. And I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory to Norway. As always, let me know all of your thoughts down in the comment section below. But if you think you can do better than me at these predictions, there's been a QR code on your screen throughout the entirety of this prediction video. If you scan that, it will take you to my SO99 Predictor League on FootMob, where you have the opportunity to take myself on and any other of the supporters of this channel in a league to see who is the best at doing predictions. I'm going to have this QR code up throughout the entirety of this tournament, so all of you can get involved. And there will be a link available in the description and in the pinned comment of this video as well, so as many of you can get involved as possible. And like I say, let me know all of your thoughts down in the comment section below. Are you excited for this Women's European Championship? Let me know that as well. As always, thank you very much for watching. I'll be back tomorrow morning with my preview and predictions for Matchday 1 in Group B. I'll see you there.